And the toilet, oh my gosh, the toilet was even worse. Balls of fluff with wings that were flying towards us. And my husband's face was just like, and bearing in mind there's no signal on our phones, so we can't contact anybody. And just the most bizarre creatures that we've never seen in our whole lives before. I did not know there was wild monkeys around these bubbles. So as soon as we put our phone on, you just see like bug after bug coming towards you. It was like a action adventure horror film. It was so crazy. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. This is the very first time in my whole life I've ever filmed a storytime video because, let's be honest, my life is just not that interesting to be filming storytime videos left, right and centre. But something happened on my honeymoon, our honeymoon I should say, in April, and it was such an adventurous experience that I've been told by multiple people that it only makes sense to film a storytime video because it was that crazy. So I am sitting purposely on one side so that on this side I can put pictures up to help with my story. And this is about a bubble hotel. So I hope you guys are sitting comfortably. I hope you're ready for this story. I've got my phone, I've got the pictures. Yeah, let's get started. So for my honeymoon, we went to Dubai for 2 days and then we went for a week to Bali, Indonesia, which was the most incredible experience ever. Honestly, when I say it's like a whole different world, I'm not kidding. It was beautiful. So we stayed in villas for most of our trip, but the last day, my husband thought it would be a really nice idea to book us into a bubble hotel. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the advert from booking.com, but there is an advert and I'm gonna play it right now.
At booking.com, you can find a house, you can find a car, you can even find a bubble. But what happens there, that finds you.
So yeah, what happens there that finds you? This is what I'm going to tell you, our story of our bubble experience. There are a few bubble hotels in Bali, I believe, but my husband did a bit of research and the company that we went for looked incredibly professional online. The marketing was fantastic, the illustrations were beautiful, it looked amazing. So we left our villa in Ubud and we were driven all the way down to near the beachy area of Bali, and this is where the bubble hotel was situated. And it was quite a long drive, but it was fine, you know, AC, it was all good. It was hot, humid, sticky as it always is in Bali at this time of year. But we got there, got our luggage out, and a man came to greet us. And my husband said, "Oh, hello, we're looking for the bubble hotel." And he was like,
I am the bubble hotel.
and we were just like, okay. Like we assumed, you know, like you just meant, you know, I'm in charge of the bubble hotel. So we're like, that's fine, okay. So he was like, but guys have got too much baggage. You need to take one bag with you only. So luckily we had actually pre-thought this. We thought we don't want to be like, because we just packed the night before. So like we don't want to be like dragging like all our gifts and everything and all of that sort of stuff along. Obviously our valuables we had on us. I had my handbag, my husband had his rucksack, we had our wash bags, and then in one of our carry-ons we just put our airport clothes and we put our clothes for the next 2 days. So luckily that wasn't too stressful. We didn't have to like take out our luggage and start packing and whatever, but we thought we'd be putting in some kind of secure locker, and this guy literally gets his keys and he opens his garage to his house, okay? He opens his garage and he's like, this is where your luggage will stay. And we were like, is it secure? And he was like, yeah, I'm the only one with the key, it's fine. And when, you know, at this point, we're a bit like, okay, that's a bit strange, but whatever. We've got our valuables, like, you know, if anything, God forbid, were to happen, it's not the end of the world because we've got the things we need. Let's just see where this takes us. So he took us on, we went around the corner and there's this really, really beautiful building there with flowers and everything, and it looks so nice. I was like, oh, we're going to go through here and then the beach is going to be there and the bubble will be there and it'll be so nice. No. He said to us that there is a 20-minute walk, and my husband actually knew that there was going to be a bit of a walk. He was also told there was a 20-minute walk, and did anybody think to tell me beforehand? No. So your girl has got her maxi dress on, her beautiful Zara kaftan thing on, and the cutest but most impractical shoes for a walk ever. They're the white croquet ones that I got in my Shein haul. There'll be a picture here. I was like, oh my gosh, why was I not told there's going to be a walk? Like, I would have put on some more sensible sandals that have a back. So anyway, I was like, you know what, we're here now, like, let's just do it. And there's actually a sign, it says there's the beach that's 20 minutes away, and there's some steps. So we're like, okay, that's fine, whatever. We get there, it'll be really nice. So we start walking down these steps, and he's with us at this point, and then he stops, and the steps also stop, and it's literally like rocks and trees everywhere.
Go to in left, straight ahead, in front bubble head number 1. Yeah.
So at this point, we are what to us looks like at the beginning of a forest, and he says to us like, I'm not going any further, you guys need to follow the white paint and then you'll get to where you need to be, and it's a 20-minute walk, could be fine. And I was just like, what? Like, there's not even any steps, and there's literally just like white paint splattered here and there, like on trees and rocks, and it was insane. So we were like, okay, like, you know, what can we do? We're here now. So we start doing this walk, but it's not a walk. It is a hike. Now, if you guys have ever done Duke of Edinburgh Silver, you will know what I mean when I say that that is a hike. You are literally going up and down hills. This was the same thing, but we were walking down basically what was like a mountain with a forest all around us. So it was hot, it was humid. Now, obviously, when there's a forest, there's rain, so there was bits of the path that was so slippery, you could have easily slipped and like had a really serious injury or broken a bone, and nobody would have known. Like, it was so remote, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I had my heavy bag, I had my camera around my neck, I had my phone in my hand, and my husband was like, look, you need to take your camera off, you need to put your phone in your bag, and we need to do this sensibly, and we need to go down safely. So he's like walking along, he's got his comfortable hush puppy shoes on, and then there's me struggling with my very impractical shoes, and I'm just like, look, if I just hold on to your shoulders and you walk, this is the only way we're gonna get there. And he was like, no, Ikra, you need to like look at where I'm putting my feet and put your feet where I'm putting my feet. And I was like, this is not the time to be teaching your wife how to walk down the mountain. It really isn't, because we're hot, we are sweaty. It was such an uncomfortable walk, and like about 3 or 4 minutes in, there was luckily a shop, literally like in the middle of this mountain with trees everywhere. There was a shop, and it had the most beautiful view, like we could see the sea through the shop. So it didn't feel like it was too far. And we went in the shop, we got some 7-Up, we got some ice cold water, and it was like, oh, thank goodness for that, because it was just so humid. Now obviously the sun's not beating down on us, but it's very, very, very humid. It's almost like hard to breathe, and we're just like, ugh, just so sweaty. It was just horrible. We're walking down, and occasionally like we'll see people walking past, and there's literally people with hiking sticks, people who have either been here before or who've researched it better than we did, and they had hiking sticks and they were hiking down this mountain. And then there's us with like our carry-on bag and the rucksacks, just like struggling for dear life. It was so crazy, and the 20-minute walk that was promised to us actually ended up taking about 45 minutes. So we finally get to the bottom of this mountain, absolutely exhausted, like feeling so disgusting, and like halfway through I was like, let's just turn around, like this is not worth it, let's just find a hotel, we don't need to do this experience, like it's just not, like this is crazy, like how can such a beautifully presented experience have such a crazy start? But we'd already, like, we're also like, we've got here now, and you know, I'm sure it's going to be worth it. That's what my husband kept saying, I'm sure it'll be worth it. We got down to the bottom and we walked a little bit further, and it was so stunning, you guys. It was the whitest beach with like completely clean, very, very private, and then the water was so blue and clear, and the tide was insane. So where we'd got to, when we looked on the right, there was like a few people in the distance, and then there was nobody on the left. And then we saw this like little speck, this little person coming towards us. And obviously we're still really hot and sweaty, and my husband's trying to like pull the carry-on bag through the sand, and that's just not working. The guy's like coming towards us, and he's like, hello, Bubble Hotel. I was like, what bubble number are you? And we said, oh, we're bubble number 1. He said, okay, that's fine, it's here. And he took us like up 1 minute towards these like trees, and there was a sign there that said private land. And then that's basically where the bubble was. So we walked through the trees, and There's a beautiful gazebo there, and then there was like a little swing on the side, and it looked so cute and so romantic and so different. And then right in front of us on the path was a bubble. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's literally like, you know those blow up inflatable chairs, like that material. It's like a bubble that's been blown up, and it's like totally clear. It's quite large, like there's an air mattress in the middle, and then there's a massive fan in the middle, and there's space around the bubble as well. And then there's an entrance to the bubble. Now there'll be pictures here to explain what I mean. So there's an entrance to the bubble. When we got there, this was about 4:30 in the afternoon. So it was still daylight, it was still pretty warm. We had to pay for the bubble, but you could then pay extra money on top for other things, such as dinner. Dinner was £10 a head, which isn't too bad, but for Bali, that's expensive, because dinner in Bali, like unless you're going to a really fancy restaurant, is anywhere between like £1.50 to £5.50 per person. So that was kind of like double what we were spending on our meals. That was fine. We were like, you know, last night here, it's gonna be a nice experience. We're gonna, you know, have a nice meal. We chose fish and chips the day before. We'd like sort of secured it all in place. My husband had also brought some romantic decorations as well, and we also had opted for a campfire to be built as well for us to, you know, complete this whole experience. It would have been really nice, and that was all extra money. Now, when we got there, the entrance to the bubble was blown up, but the bubble was half up, but it was like kind of like a bit deflated from the back. And obviously the guy's still with us, and he's just given us some nice cold water.
I give you water.
Thank you. And we're like, oh, thank you. And then I was like, what's happening with the bubble? And he was like, well, the thing is, it's too hot right now for us to blow the bubble up, because yeah, we can't go in there anyway. Like when it's like sunlight, it's too hot in there. It's better when it's like in the evening time. So he was like, in half an hour, like the bubble will be ready. We'll come back, we'll put the decorations in, and then you guys can go into the bubble. It's fine. So I said, okay, that's fine. And then he was like, let me show you where the shower is. So the bubble is like here, and then you walk a little bit on, and there's like all these trees and bushes, and you go through the trees, you go around. And then here, completely like shielded from any person, is a shower. But it is completely outdoors. There is no plastic screen. There's no like plastic box. Like you're literally standing outdoors with a shower tap over your head. And there's bugs and insects and everything all around. So that put me off. I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought the shower would be a bit more easier to use, because I mean we just come from Ubud where we had an outdoor shower, but it was still inside a room, and this was completely outdoors. And the toilet, oh my gosh, the toilet was even worse. So like about a few steps away from the shower, there's more trees, and they're like, so I'm sitting down here and the trees are like this close to my head when you're sitting on the toilet. Like, what the hell is that about? Like, I was like, what? Like, so you're supposed to sit and there's trees and there's like spiders and bugs and all sorts of things like literally dangling over your head and across your face, and you're supposed to go to the toilet. I was like, what? And there's no tap or anything, but there is shampoo and there's body wash there. So that kind of was like, wow, we've just had a crazy hike down this mountain. And when we looked behind us, it looked exactly like the scene from Lost. I've never watched Lost, but I always used to see like pictures of it like on billboards and stuff. It was exactly the same scene. So there's a beautiful beach, but behind you there's just a sea of green trees in a forest basically. And I've put the picture up here. We literally walked from the top of that forest all the way down to get to this place. And then we get there and the bubble's not ready. But, you know, we understand. Like, we're reasonable people. What he said makes sense. We understood. It's too hot. It's fine. But the shower and the toilet, like, that was disappointing. I was like, that could have been a bit more professional. Like, come on. But anyway, so he was like, yeah, you guys go on the beach. It'll be ready in like half an hour. I'll come back in half an hour. It's fine. So that's what we did. I took my laptop and my camera and phones onto the beach bit, and it was so private. It was so beautiful. Like, that was definitely the highlight of this whole trip, was just having a beach to ourselves. The water was so gorgeous, and I've never really been in the sea before, but I went like as far as I felt comfortable. And my husband, he's a good swimmer, but the tide on that beach was crazy strong. There was actually signs saying that there's no lifeguards here and there's like a risk to your life if you go into that water, because the tide was constantly so strong. I've never seen a tide like that in my life, but it was gorgeous. And that was definitely the best part, was just like relaxing on the beach in the sand and like reflecting on our honeymoon, and alhamdulillah how blessed we were feeling. And we actually ended up staying there for about an hour, and about half an hour in we saw another couple coming. This guy had his bag with him and he was a bit lost, so my husband went up to him and he was like, oh, I'm bubble number 3, do you know where it is? And my husband like showed him. He's like, oh yeah, basically there's 6 bubbles on this beach and this beach is totally private. Now, it leads eventually to a public beach, but that's like 10 kilometers down, like a very, very long walk. So the bubbles are completely remote and there's no signal. There's absolutely 0 signal in this place. So our bubble was here, then about 200 meters down there was another bubble, and 200 meters down there was another bubble. So it's still very private, like your part is very private, like you can't see anyone really, but you could, you know, there's still people around. So this guy like introduced himself to my husband. He was saying, we're from Russia, like we're here for my wife's birthday, and we're here for one night, and we thought it'd be a really cool experience, etc. And then he said, do you guys want to build a fire tonight? And my husband was like, oh yeah, well, we've actually already paid for a campfire. And he said, oh, well, I could have made one, you know. Not that we knew he'd be there, but he was really nice in that sense, you know. He was like, you know, I've got matches and, you know, I can make a fire if you needed one. But anyway, so my husband showed him that where his bubble was, and he went his separate way, we went our separate way, went back to the beach, we were just enjoying it. And then it was about 5:30, about 5:45, and dinner was supposed to be between 6 to 6:30. So I said, like, let's go back up now to where our little bubble is. Let's go shower off, because bearing in mind we're still really hot and sweaty and gross from that walk down, and now we've been in the water and we're covered in sand, so we definitely need a shower by this point. So we were like, let's go back, shower off, get changed, and then get ready for our dinner. It's been a bit of a crazy start to this whole experience, but it's fine. Like, we will, you know, make the best of it and just, you know, do what we need to do. So we went back up the sort of woody bit, and this bubble, which was half blown up when we last left, was completely flat. Yeah, you heard right. It was completely flat. Just the entrance of the bubble was standing up. The rest of the bubble was flat. And I was like, what? He said an hour ago that in half an hour it'd all be ready and it'd all be fine. Like, what on earth is going on? And she was nowhere to be seen. And bearing in mind there's no signal on our phones, so we can't contact anybody. And we were a bit like, oh my god. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, let's just do what we can do now. We've still got sunlight. We've still got some light. And I haven't really spoken about this too much, but there are so many bugs all around us, and we're not talking about like mosquitoes and bees and stuff. We're talking about bugs that we have never ever seen in our whole lives before. There was like balls of fluff with wings that were flying towards us, and red dragonflies, and just the most bizarre creatures that we've never seen in our whole lives before. And I'd been bitten a few times on the honeymoon, and I wasn't surprised by that. I was using like the jungle formula bug spray, but I've got sweet blood. I do tend to get bitten whenever I go to a hot country. My husband had not been bitten at all. He had always said like, no, I don't really get bitten, and I would still spray him anyway. But that morning we just didn't use a bug spray. Well, I don't remember him putting any on. So this walk, this 45-minute walk down, or hike down the mountain, had left him with honestly about 20 different bites on his arms and legs, and he'd been stung on his hand as well. So his hand had actually swollen up to twice the size. And obviously, like, we're literally in the middle of nowhere and there's no one around to help with anything. So I was just trying to like keep us both calm. I said, let's just go and like turn the shower on. So we go into the shower bit. We're turning one way, there's no water. Turning the other way, still no water. And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, wow, like what could actually go wrong next? Seriously. And then we come out, and this guy comes and he's like, oh, hello, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, you said the bubble will be ready, and it's not, and there's no water. And he was like, yeah, the generator's broken. There's no electricity. Me and my husband just looked at each other like, what? Like, what do you mean there's no electricity? And he was like, yeah, don't worry, manager knows, it's being fixed. You guys go back on the beach and it'll be fine. And, it'll be sorted in half an hour. And that seemed to be like his go-to line. It'll be sorted in half an hour. And was anything sorted in half an hour? No. So at this point now, I started to panic a bit. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. You feel so alone and so like hopeless and scared. And we were hungry. Like the last time we ate was 1 p.m. At this point it's like almost 7 o'clock now, and it started to get dark. So we started using our phones for lights, but obviously insects are attracted to light. So as soon as we put our phone on, you just see like bug after bug coming towards you. It was literally like a horror film. I was like, we can't even use the light. Like, it's so scary. What do we do? So my husband and I both decided to go and sit inside the entrance of the bubble, which had a zip. And we were like, let's move all our things inside the bubble, and then hopefully these guys are going to sort themselves out. We paid for this experience. It was not cheap. Hopefully they're going to come and help us out and sort something out. So we went and we moved our things in there. And by the way, we're still covered in sand. We're still extremely like gross, and it's just, we're feeling really horrible. Like we really needed a shower at that point. Like we really did. But there was nothing we could do. There was no water. There was no electricity. So we went and sat in the bubble. Now, obviously it's now dark, it's getting dark, but it was still so stiflingly hot and suffocating inside the entrance of the bubble that I was actually okay, because I was like, well, at least in here there's no bugs. Like, we're definitely like safe from the bugs here. But my husband was like, I can't breathe. I've got asthma, I can't breathe. I feel like, I feel so claustrophobic. And I said, well, the thing is, we either stay in here and don't get bitten and don't breathe, or we go outside of the bubble and we get bitten and then we die anyway from the bites. So, I mean, I'm choosing to stay in the bubble. You can go out if you want to, but I was like, I want to stay here. Like, I feel safe here. And he was like, no, we can't stay here. Like, it's so hard to breathe in here. And then he was like, what about the Russian guy? Like, why don't me and him go into the forest, get some sticks and prop the bubbles up? And I was like, no, like these bubbles are huge. Like, you can't prop them up with sticks. How are you gonna, first of all, like find such big sticks? And then how are you, like, I was like, that's just not gonna work. And he was like, let's just go to them anyway and like see, how they are, because they must be as worried as we are. And I was like, no, like I just feel so gross. I don't want to be around other people. Like, let's just wait for the people to come and help us. I'm sure they will. So we were like debating what to do. And then my husband decided, like, he was like, I think the best thing to do actually is for us to go and take our valuables and go and sit literally by the beach, like on the beach by the water, because by the water there's no insects, so you're like much more safe there. That was what to us felt like the safest option. And obviously we'd been in the water before and there was no sort of insects or creeper crawlies that we could have seen. There probably was, but we kind of felt like that was the best decision. So we're picking up our stuff, like taking the things that we needed with us. And as we were like coming out of our bubble, 2 random girls like came out of nowhere, and they were coming like up our path into where our bubble was, and they were like, hello, like you know electricity too? And we said, no, like, how about you guys? And they're like, no, we're bubble 6, we're all the way down there, we've walked here, we're so scared. Can we stay with you guys? Because we want to be like around other people. And we were like, yeah, of course, like, let's go sit on the beach, because that's like where there's no insects, no bug. And one of the girls, they're basically both from Brazil, but they've been living for a year in Australia and like working there and traveling from there. And they were really, really sweet. And it was so, actually, my husband was right, it was so nice to be around other people because you felt suddenly safer. And she had like a big sort of scarf that we all sat down on, us 4. And they basically said, like, the reason like we left our bubble was because when we like one of them went out of the bubble, and she was like, we looked around and we were surrounded by monkeys. Our bubble was surrounded by monkeys. And I was like, if I wasn't scared before, mate, I did not know there was wild monkeys around these bubbles. I was like, oh my god, like now I'm really scared, because a few days previously we'd gone to the monkey forest at Ubud, and obviously those monkeys were wild too, but they were more used to humans, and they were so sneaky. Like they would open zips, they would basically be like searching for people's things, they would jump on you. Like they look really cute from far, they do look really, really cute, but they are very sneaky. And when she said that their bubble, which was a bit of the way down, was surrounded by monkeys, I was like, now I am super stressed. Like before I was like a little bit stressed, and now I'm like crazy stressed. Like there's actual wild monkeys in this forest and we are by ourselves, and there's no signal, and like there's no way we could get back up. Now the girls had a ferry ride at 6 a.m. the next morning, so they were really worried, because they said, we've actually paid the guy to come and get us in the morning and help us to go back up with our luggage and stuff, but we don't think that he'll come because look at how unprofessional they've been with this whole thing. There's no electricity, we've all paid for our dinner, we've not had any dinner. So the girls are like, do you guys want to come up with us and walk up the mountain, and then we'll just like get hotels? And I looked at my husband, and we're both like, no, you've just told us there's monkeys in this forest. We are not willing to go up there in the dark, and it would have been so dangerous to like walk just by ourselves as people who didn't really know this forest very well at all. When there's wild monkeys, there's insects everywhere, and it's all slippy and slidey, and it's very, very, very steep. It was such a hard climb down that the climb up in the middle of the night was just like, no. And I tried to like encourage him to like stay as well. I was like, look, when the guy comes, like talk to him then, but I'm sure someone will be coming. I'm sure they wouldn't have left us stranded. But we were like getting quite scared, and it was also, I don't know, like we just felt like no one was going to come to help us, basically, because nobody had come. It'd been hours, and they kept saying, they spoke to us twice and they said half an hour, and each time no one bothered to come. And then in the corner of our eyes we spotted like a little fire going, and we realised that that must be the Russian couple. And so my husband was like, why don't we build our own fire on the beach? That will help to like, I mean, it wasn't cold, but just to help keep us warm and like keep us also like any insects away as well, because insects don't go near fire. So he went up to the couple, and they were really sweet. They were like, yeah, here's some matches, here you go. And then my husband was like,
So, what kind of wood do you need to build a fire?
they were like any wood really, as long as it's dry. And then he was like,
Where do you find the wood from?
and they were like, we're staying next to a forest, so you go into the forest. And then they clicked on that he actually really needed help to build this fire, because we never built a fire in our lives before. So they were like, okay, we'll help you build a fire. So they brought some sticks, and we're trying to build this fire on the beach, but obviously like there's sand, and then under the sand there's water. So we wasted like 4 matches trying to make this little pile of sticks light up, and every time we're like, come on, and it just wasn't lighting up. So then the guy was like, look, to a guy who was like, you need to go back in the forest and get some more sticks and bigger ones, and then we'll try and do it again in a different way. And I didn't realise this at the time, but he told me afterwards, he was like, I was so scared to go in that forest alone. Like after the girls had told me there was monkeys, he was like, I was so scared. But the whole time he'd kind of been the one that was like keeping everyone laughing and like relaxed. And I think because he'd kind of been playing the Joker, the Russian guy was like, yeah, you go get the sticks. And, you know, he thought he was fine. But in reality, he was actually like, oh, like freaking out. He goes into the forest to get sticks. And then he just sees like a few monkeys just staring at him, and he's like, oh my god. So like he grabs as much as he can, he grabs leaves, he grabs sticks, he grabs anything on the floor and like runs back to us. And then the Russian guy was really smart, because he got a massive white rock from the forest, and that's what they then built the fire on, because obviously that's dry, so it's easier. And literally we're on our last match and the fire finally lit. We're like, woo, thank you. And the Russians were really sweet. They're basically saying that like they live near a forest in Russia, so they're very used to building fires, like it's nothing new to them. And my husband was like, oh yeah, this is my first time building a fire. And the lady just like, yes, we see this. It was just so funny. Yeah, we just kept each other laughing, and it was really nice, like the unity between like 6 strangers basically, who never knew each other before, never met before, from different corners of the earth. just coming together to just make ourselves feel safe was just so lovely, and like it kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit. So anyway, we're sat around this fire and it's like another half an hour. So at this point it's like 10:30 by the time all this has happened, and then suddenly like we just see lights come on like behind us, like where all the bubbles are. We just see like little lights flicker on and we're like, oh thank God, that means electricity has been fixed. And then like a minute later, this guy comes from where our bubble was, because it was the closest to where we were sitting. The guy's coming and he's got 2 carry bags in his hands and he's like, hello sir, to my husband. He's like, I've come with romantic decorations. And my husband's face was just like, he just couldn't form sentences. He was like, romantic decorations? Wait, he just couldn't form a sentence. And I was like, we don't want romantic decorations. We've been left stranded. We are sweaty. We are disgusting. We need showers. We are hungry. We are scared in a forest alone. The romantic decorations is the last thing that's on our minds right now. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, you just need to text manager and she sort it out for you. And we're like, we can't text a manager or call a manager. There is no signal on this place. Like, we are literally like stranded. There's no signal. Like, what are you talking about? And the Russians, by the way, they like seem really, like my husband was like, yeah, so like there's no electricity. And they're like, yeah, no electricity. And then he's like, and there's like monkeys in a forest, and like, yeah, monkeys, yeah. Like, they were just so cool. But like me and my husband were like a little bit freaked out, and the girls were also quite freaked out as well. So the guy's like, okay, well, I bring your dinner anyway. And we were like, where's the dinner? And he's like, I left it on the gazebo. And the gazebo has a light on the top. So we just look at each other like, oh my God. And then he's like, come on. And my husband's like, well, you did cover it, right? And he's like, no, not covered already. And then we walk back to the gazebo and guess what's crawling on our fish and chips? All sorts of bugs, because the light has meant that the insects are coming to the light and then they're smelling the food and jumping on the food. And we're like, no, we can't eat this now. And he's like, but it's fresh. And we're like, there's bugs on it. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, why would you not cover it? Like, after all of that, why would you not cover it? But anyway, there was a box of fruit that was all packaged up. So we took the fruit, and then the bubble was all blown up at this point as well. It blew up really quickly. Like, it was quite large, and there was like little fairy lights on the inside, and it was really, really pretty and really cute. There's curtains as well that you could draw. So we went in there and the fan's on, and it's still pretty hot, bearing in mind it's still pretty hot, but the fan kind of made it bearable. And neither of us wanted to go to the shower at this time of night because of all the insects, and it was pitch black. Like, there's no lights anywhere basically. Even like we were on the beach, the only thing that was like lighting anything up was the moon. Literally, like, it was almost like a horror film. It was like a action adventure horror film. It was so crazy. And like at so many points we were like, this is, I mean, to me, the movie that was coming to mind was Madagascar, when they're stranded on the beach and like they're trying to do the SOS and the fire. And my husband as well, he had his phone and he was like flashing Morse code at any like plane that went past, and we're like, they can't see you, the planes can't see the light. He's like, they might rescue us. So we were like trying to make a good thing out of a bad situation, but it was so insane. And like thinking back to it, like, I'm really proud of how we just kind of got through it. I mean, you kind of just have to, right? But it was insane. So we're sat in this bubble, there's lights like inside the bubble. We've had no dinner, we've had nothing to eat, and we're still just feeling so gross, and we're like, how are we going to sleep because we feel so disgusting? I just felt exhausted though. I could feel the tiredness like coming over me. And as we're like sitting here, and obviously there's lights inside the bubble, we see like things crawling on the outside of the bubble because, again, insects and light. They're like, there's insects outside the bubble. Oh, it was so gross. So we got the bug spray just like for peace of mind, and we sprayed like all around the bubble and like any entrances and any gaps there could be where any insects could get in. Because obviously at this point my husband's hand's still swollen and he's still got loads of bites and it's horrible. And then luckily, me being me, the day before we'd gone to a little corner shop and I picked up some Bali snacks. So I got some biscuits, there was some chocolate, some sweets, and some Bali granola bites, which are supposed to be like really, really amazing. And I watched videos of people talking about them, saying like how much they love these Bali granola things and they're only available in Bali. And I was so excited to eat them. And obviously we had the fruit, so we literally sat down inside the bubble, rationing out the food, like half a biscuit for you, half biscuit for me, like here's you have this pineapple, I have this. Like we were literally rationing food, and we were still really hungry, but we ate what we had, we drank the water. Obviously in the back of my mind I was like, there literally could be a monkey at any moment that just jumps on this bubble, and they got really sharp teeth and it could just bite the bubble. But I was also so tired that I was like, I'm just gonna block out all these thoughts, and I'm just gonna eat this and just sleep. And then in the morning, this nightmare will be over and we can go back up and just like go away as far away from this as possible. So I actually ended up going to sleep really fast. And I remember at one point my husband was like, oh, should we open the granola? And I said no. I was like, no, let's just save it for the morning because they probably won't give us breakfast, like knowing what the service has been like so far. And he was like, oh, come on, I'm really hungry. Let's just have like a couple of bites each. And I was like, okay, I just want one bite because I'm so tired. And if I have more than one bite, I'm going to end up being awake and I just want to sleep. And what I didn't know was that he was incredibly scared that because the generator had broken literally a few hours before, he was scared the generator was going to break again and that the bubble in our sleep was going to just collapse and then we wouldn't wake up. Basically we'd wake up fried. He had like that very morbid but pretty sensible thought, whereas I had no idea. Like that was what was on his mind. I'm really grateful to him now that I think about it that he didn't share that with me, because if I'd had that thought I would have been like, oh my god, what if this happens, and da, da, da. But I was so tired, honestly. I was so exhausted that I just fell asleep. And it turned out that he stayed up the whole night because of fear of this bubble collapsing on us and basically us like never getting out there again, which was like, yeah, just it was really sweet of him to be so selfless like that. But obviously in the process he ate all the granola. So I remember waking up and later on being like, where's the granola? He was just looking at me like, so basically, I didn't sleep last night. He did fall asleep though for like half an hour maximum towards the end of the night. And obviously, like I said, we're in the bubble. When the sunrise starts, like there's light everywhere. Like there's no walls, obviously. So about 6:05, I want to say, both of us woke up at the same time. We heard a really weird noise. And I looked at him and I was like, are we having the same dream or did you just... And then before I could even finish my sentence, there was just the moo sound. I was like, did you just hear a moo? And we both sat up and looked to the right and there's literally a huge brown cow. And it's looking in on the bubble. It's like moo. I'm thinking back to it, it was so insane. I just looked at him like, what the hell? Like, nobody told us there was going to be cows. Like, and why are there cows on a beach in Bali? And how did they get here? Like, how... I was like so shocked. And the weirdest thing was like within a minute it was gone. Like it was there a minute and then it was gone. And then we heard it mooing somewhere else. And later on we saw like 4 or 5 wild cows. Insane. Anyway, we got up in the morning and we went back into the sea. We had some really lovely fresh fruit and the guy like offered to help us up the mountain with our luggage if we paid him a bit of extra money, which we did. We showered off. Halfway through my shower, I was covered in like soap and then the water stopped as well, so that was fantastic. But I was just like, you know what, this has to end at some point. This nightmare experience has to end. The walk up this mountain, you guys, was insanely difficult. It was so hard, but alhamdulillah, we got out there alive. And there were so many moments that could have gone, like that went wrong, but could have gone even worse for us. But we're just so grateful that we came out of that experience alive and that we have like this crazy memory of our last day in Bali, because literally everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. I mean, we had imagined like a beautiful bubble that was all ready for us, and a cute campfire, and we could like toast marshmallows and have a really nice dinner on the beach. You know, I brought like a jumpsuit and a nice outfit to change into and a clutch bag. And did we end up using any of it? No. But we did have like an insane experience to like bring back with us. And it's one of those things that we'll just never ever forget. And at the time, it was like, why is this happening to us? What is going on? What is life right now? But now looking back on it, like, it's such a cool experience, and it was a really good like relationship building experience actually as well. So yeah, that was the story of the bubble. This is like probably one of my longest videos I've ever posted, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that if any of you guys ever go into a bubble, you have a much better, safer experience than we did. In all honesty, I wouldn't recommend this company because I feel like there's so many things that they just don't have right. And it wasn't the guys' faults who were like coming and bringing the food and sorting it all out. It's the management's fault at the end of the day. So we did end up getting a refund because we were just like, that was ridiculous. But I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want to find out more about our honeymoon and see like vlogs and stuff, I've posted a few. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy them, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.